4 years ago, I made a video about my dream bucket list reptiles, the ones that I can't wait to have someday. Today is someday, and I have them all. I can't wait to show you. I think all of us who love reptiles have a bucket list of reptiles, the species that we wish that we could possibly one day maybe have, and I'm very lucky that now I have every single one. And the reason I know that is because 4 years ago, I made this video right here. This is August 12th, 2021, so 4 years ago. If you really think about it, it's 3 years and 10 months, which is exactly how long most people are in high school for. So it's basically the length of high school from that video to now. A lot can change in 4 years, even if it seems like it can't or doesn't. So let's go through all 5 reptiles and I'll tell you how someday maybe turned into today. And let's go in the same order as we did 4 years ago. Number 5, Argentine black and white tegus. Back then, I could only imagine of having a dinosaur lizard as big as an Argentine black and white tegu. These animals are big. 4 feet, maybe even bigger. They take a lot of space and a lot of care. And I didn't have the space or the time. Back then, I was freshly in this house. This room wasn't even renovated yet. It looked like a shell, basically. Carpeted floors and pot lights from the 1970s. So we renovated this room to make room for this tegu. The main purpose of the way I set this room up is so that I could have a tegu, and I'm not even kidding. Tegus are big. They have a specialized diet. They need a lot of humidity, but that's hard to do in a big enclosure. So that's why I went ahead and bought big, giant 8 foot by 4 foot by 3 foot enclosures. And one was meant for the tegu. Now I got that tegu actually 1 month later in September of 2021 as this little tiny baby. This is a photo of me holding Mushu the day that I brought her home. And I tried to put her in the enclosure, but it's hilarious sticking a lizard that small in a giant enclosure. Obviously a bad idea. And we've progressively moved Mushu up a little bit at a time. In fact, last month, we made her next biggest enclosure that you can see right here. So the reason I didn't have a black and white tegu is the space, the time, the commitment, the whole thing. I was just hitting my stride on this channel. I just freshly hit 100,000 subscribers, and I kind of realized, okay, this is gonna be my life for the foreseeable future, and that's why I went ahead and got one. I was finally ready, which is a similar story to number 4. Part of our dream reptiles are dinosaurs, obviously. Now, I didn't get a real dinosaur, but I did get a frilled dragon coming at number 4. In fact, the frilled dragon that you see right here is the same frilled dragon that's on my shoulder right now. Back then, I used to go to the reptile shop so I could take videos of reptiles that I didn't keep or couldn't afford or couldn't keep for whatever reason, and they had Tilly the Frilly, and a few years later, I was given Tilly the Frilly from this reptile shop. So thanks to Niagara Exotics, you guys are awesome. In that video, I said, I feel like you almost need to build like a closet for them if you have a bigger one. And then I go on to say something like a 4 by 4 by 2 foot enclosure would be perfect. So first of all, Tilly now lives in a 4 by 4 by 2 foot enclosure right over here. And when I said that you need to build a closet almost, well, I built enclosures in the back there that we just painted freshly. And one of those is for frilled dragons. Now I say frilled dragons because although I've had Tilly for, I guess, a couple of years now, I have 2 more that are Australian. So there's 2 types, by the way. This is an Indonesian frilled dragon, a little bit smaller frill, more drab coloration. A few weeks ago in this video right here, I made enclosures for frilled dragons that are Australian, which get bigger frills, more flamboyant in terms of the nature of them producing those frills, and different color, and those are growing really nicely. So I've got 3, and I've never said this on the channel before, I've got 2 more Indonesians coming because Tilly here needs girlfriends. So we've got him 2 girlfriends coming from Indonesia. They're captive bred, but they're captive bred at a facility over there, and they're coming over here with the rest of my order this summer. Hilariously in this video, I said, I'm thinking about bringing in a helper 1 time a week or something because with these animals, they take a lot of work and I need a lot of help with them. And that's the reason I didn't get frilled dragon before, is I didn't have the time for animals that need a little bit more care, like frilled dragons. Hilariously, about a year later after that video, I hired somebody to help me take care of reptiles. Ari did great. She was here for a few years. And now we've got Trish, my wife, and she's kind of the head zookeeper here, and she takes care of everything. So I didn't have help back then, but I do now, and that's why I can have a lot of these animals that I didn't have time for before. An extra pair of hands really does make a huge difference. Doing this job, making the videos, and talking to sponsors and the business end and tax and all this stuff it's a real job. And then on top of that, taking care of this many reptiles, I couldn't do it without help. So, I mean, you guys know Trish. She's awesome. She's in the videos all the time. And Elfie, we're training Elfie. We're training a zookeeper right now, so let me just... Okay, so you have to last week in this video right here. I don't need to point to videos constantly, but we were training him and he's doing great. Frilly Dragons take a ton of time, a ton of effort, they eat a ton of bugs, and I'm so happy that I finally have them. Of course, we've either made already or are going to be making videos about setting all these animals up, including the Frilly Dragon. So I'd be remiss if I didn't say thanks so much to Reptiles and New Age Pet for helping me set all these animals up. A few weeks ago, we did a video about Mushu, our Tegu, getting set up in her brand new home in a New Age enclosure. Absolutely love these New Age pet enclosures. I've never seen enclosures at such an unbelievable price with such amazing quality. And then I filled the thing with Reptiles, which you can get right here, by the way, link in the description below. Insane quality for an amazing price. And there's so many different options too. So it doesn't matter if you want a big chip, small chip, get it in bagged form, get it in a cube, doesn't matter, Reptiles has you covered. So go to chewy.com right now and get the same stuff that I use to set up my dream reptiles, including these beautiful Brazilian rainbow boas that are going into quarantine here. Thanks Chewy for sponsoring this video, and let's get back to the list. Number 3 on the list is a snake species that I was sure I was going to eventually have, and that's Brazilian rainbow boas. In fact, I've had a few Brazilian rainbow boas, and hilariously 4 years ago in that video, I predicted the outcome of keeping one, which is why I didn't keep one in the first place. Let me explain. I said they're the most beautiful non-venomous snake, and I certainly believe that. This is a 5-foot snake that is gorgeous. It's the perfect size of animal where they're not fragile and they can't hurt you. And I actually got a Brazilian rainbow boa a couple of years ago. Unfortunately, that animal passed. In the video 4 years ago, I said something along the lines of, if you get a Brazilian rainbow boa as a baby instead of an adult, they take so much extra effort and extra work. And you can't do things like leave your water bowl, because if it tips over for a few hours, you might come back to a dead snake because they need such high humidity. Not hilariously, but ironically, that's exactly what happened. At the end of the day, whatever happens to reptiles here is my responsibility, so I'm not shifting blame. But there was an incident where a water bowl was left completely empty for this Brazilian rainbow boa. The misting system had run dry, there was no water in the reservoir, and the animal literally dried out and died. My fault, not happy about it, did a whole video about this. But since then, we've changed how we do things and how things are overseen, so it'll never happen again. However, the point is, I literally said what would happen like 3 years later. But last week, I got myself 2 more Brazilian rainbow boas. I traded them. I got them in a trade for 32 leopard geckos. So maybe not I don't know, I'm pretty happy about it actually. They're pretty cool. These animals are babies now, so they take a lot of effort, but again, I have help now, and you know, the help is great because she lives here, so you know, a little bit easier to go down every day and check. These are gonna be amazing animals. I'm so happy to have them, and I can't wait for them to grow to be bigger. Just the animals that I see, like Reptilian Gardener was the one who's kind of inspired me to get one. She shows Bowie all the time, this big, beautiful rainbow boa, the amazing coloration, perfect temperament, and that's what I want. That's what I'm looking for, and that's what I'm gonna have. So when I do this video again in like 3 or 4 years, then these animals will be full size, and I can't wait to show that. Number 2, we have to do an amphibian on these lists. We always have, and we're talking about dart frogs. This is an animal that I didn't keep for a long time because the humidity was kind of scary to me, and they might dry out. I mean, now that we talked about that rainbow boa, these are a lot easier as long as you have a glass top on the lid and the whole thing. So there's some tips and tricks for dart frogs that make it really easy to keep. And back then I had 0 dart frog species. I ended up getting my first dart frogs a few months later, or maybe even later on that month in August of 2021. And since then I've had several species and I've got really cool enclosures. I talked in that video 4 years ago about how Leucomelas, the bumblebee dart frogs, are my favorite. I've got a bunch of those now. I didn't foresee myself having the Santa Isabels, but I do have those, and those are some of my favorites. The call is amazing. They're not the most beautiful animal, but we've raised babies from eggs to tadpoles to now little froglets that are almost big enough to be put into a full-size adult enclosure. We've got a few different species in the big enclosure over there. Now, a few years ago, I would have told you not to mix species, and I think in small enclosures, it's a good idea not to. And if you're going to breed the animals, definitely don't mix them. I mean, I don't recommend that at all, but that's a 1,500 gallon enclosure. I mean, it's huge. It's the size of half of a bedroom. So I've got a species of Tinctorius, which is a Dendrobates species, and I've got a species of Philobades, which can't breed anyway. And it's such a big enclosure. They don't bother each other or bully each other. And I'm so happy that I do. So now I'm keeping up these animals in what I called living art, and I still do. And that's the reason I love dart frogs so much, is they're so much fun to look at. They're like Skittles that dance around and move. They're amazing, and I still have the same fascination as I did, you know, when I was a little kid, which was one of my favorite species of all time. One of the first animals that I ever had tattooed on me is a dart frog that never got colored in, but then I got another, wait, this over here. I got another one, and they're both Lucamellas. So I've always wanted them. I've always wanted to have them. I'm glad that I finally do. But number one, I'm going to kind of break the video here, because number one was Cyclura. And spoiler, I don't have them because they're illegal here. You can't have them in Canada. Well, technically there is one species, but the guy who breeds them is not even selling them. Like, first of all, you can't afford them, which I believe. Actually, they're probably $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. But also there's so few in Canada that he's just not willing to sell them at all. So instead, I got the next best thing, a Fiji banded iguana. Well, technically, Tonga banded iguana. Brachylophus is the genus. Either way, did you know that Tonga banded iguanas were just introduced to Tonga by humans, likely? And they're not even from there. Anyway, then we've got the Fiji banded iguana, Snoop, who's actually looking at me right now, making weird eye contact. Anyway, this was a dream reptile too. I just never saw myself having one. But the funny thing is, these guys are illegal in the US, whereas Cycluras are really easy to find and cheap. You see them for $300 all day long. And here, you can't get a Cyclura, but you can buy the banded iguanas. They're expensive. They're over $1,000 each, but still, worth it. Absolutely love them. Hoping to get some eggs this year. Should I make a video, the top 5 dream reptiles that I don't have yet? Because there's a few that I still don't have. Let me know in the comment section below and tell me your dream reptiles and tell me a story about how you had a dream reptile and actually got one. So just like write me an essay in the comment section, basically. With that, thanks for hitting like and subscribe. Patreon, thanks for subscribing. Videos early, discounts on merch, one-on-ones, all that and more for as little as $1 a month. And because we do videos twice a week, that means I'll see you in the next one.